Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most maddening errors an operator can ever face, NT status logon failure. You know the one. If you've ever lost hours, maybe even days, chasing ghosts in packet captures, well, this explainer is for you.
Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. We've all been there, right? That chaotic frenzy where you just throw everything at the wall hoping something sticks, just to make the error go away. This explainer. This is the antidote to that exact chaos. Okay, first things first, we have to understand why this specific error is so deceptive. Why our gut instincts on this one are almost always completely wrong.
You see, the error feels like a network problem, doesn't it? It feels like a timeout or a connection refused. So our immediate reaction is to start blaming the network, the firewall, the routing. But that, my friends, is almost always a dead end that keeps you from the real problem.
So if it's not the network, then what on earth is the server actually trying to tell us? Let's reframe this whole thing.
Now this is the absolute key. This error message is actually good news in a weird way because it confirms the network is working. The server got your message, it totally understood what you asked, and it sent back a very polite, very clean no. The problem isn't your connection, it's your context. And that leads us to the core shift in mindset. We have to stop troubleshooting network cables and firewalls and start troubleshooting the identity we're presenting to that server. You need to think of these characters, the backslash, the dot slash, the @ symbol, not as decoration, but as steering wheels. They are literally telling the server where to go to validate your credentials. Hey, check your local user list, or hey, go ask that domain controller over there. Using the wrong one is like driving to the wrong city to get your ID checked. It's never gonna work. All right, so enough about the problem. Let's get to the solution. I'm going to give you a repeatable, scientific method to find the right format every single time. I love this quote because it's so true. The key to solving this without creating an even bigger mess is to test one single variable at a time. You need to think like a surgeon making a precise incision, not like a leaf blower just scattering things everywhere and hoping for the best. And here it is. This is the ladder. This is the exact sequence you should follow, in this exact order, without changing the password, without changing the host, without changing anything else. Each step is a controlled test of a different identity context that the server might be expecting. Now, I want to call out step 5 on that ladder because it's so critical, the blank domain test. That's not a random guess, it's a controlled experiment. By removing the domain from your tool, you're forcing the server to tell you if that domain context was helping, or if it was actually the problem all along. If an attempt without a domain suddenly works, well, you've just found your answer. And listen, to make this whole process truly professional, you have to keep a simple log, just like this one. It stops you from going in circles and repeating tests, and it gives you clear, defensible evidence for when you have to write your report later. Now, for a super important point, how do you do all of this testing without locking out an account and turning your simple little triage task into a major 5-alarm incident? This number? This is your new best friend. If you do not know the account lockout policy for the environment you're in, this is your hard stop. 3. After 3 failed attempts, you pause, you stop all testing on that account, and you escalate. Seriously, this is non-negotiable. Following these simple rules is what separates a professional, controlled test from a reckless one that gets you a very angry phone call from the help desk. Don't be that person. And before you go any further down that credential rabbit hole, you have to ask yourself this one simple question. Could this IP address I'm testing actually be a load balancer, a NAT device, or a completely different host than what I think it is? Trust me, I've seen this burn hours and hours of time. So what happens if you've done everything right, you've run the format ladder carefully, you respected the lockout policy, and you're still getting failures? Whatever you do, don't start guessing. It's time to move to the next level of diagnostics. So these next 3 checks, they move you away from just credential format problems and into the world of server policy and configuration. Because in a hardened environment, your username and password can be absolutely perfect, but policy can still slam the door in your face. For instance, is the account even allowed to log on over the network? Or could a security policy like mandatory SMB signing be the real reason you're getting blocked? You have to consider these server-side rules. Okay, let's put all of this together. We're going to build a final, actionable playbook that you can literally screenshot and use on your very next engagement.
Your very first attempt shouldn't be random. It has to be a conscious, strategic choice based on what you suspect the target is. If it feels like a simple file server or maybe a NAS device, start with a local first approach. But if you know you're talking to a domain controller, well, it makes sense to start with a domain first format.
And here you have it, the entire process on one slide. This is your cheat sheet. You confirm your target, you run the format ladder, you use that blank domain test to isolate the problem, and most importantly, you know when to stop and escalate with your evidence. This is what low-noise, lockout-aware professional triage looks like.
So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway. When you have a systematic approach like this, that NT status logon failure error, it stops being a frustrating brick wall. It becomes a source of valuable information. It literally becomes a map that tells you exactly what the server wants, guiding you intelligently to your next step. You're no longer guessing, you're diagnosing.